Hello, my name is Francis Fox. I have to remind you, and I think I don't say it enough, this chat is for entertainment purposes only. You can't take literally anything that I say. Isn't that what you do in this country when you want to cover yourself? Okay, I'm Francis Fox. I'm a specialist in remote viewing, trained by the US government in a secret program. Most of you know that already. I'm also trained in interspecies communication. I have worked in the business world. It's actually, um, I enjoy working in business with my multidimensional skills. And I started a movement called the Mantrista movement, which was very grassroots, very spontaneous, with basically no rules except one, one major one. When we get together, I don't allow people to tell me things that they learned in other places, but that they themselves haven't really seen. And the reason I do that is because I'm training everyone to be psychic. I want their clairvoyance to be developed. And I want for us to have new discoveries. And one of the easiest ways to have new discoveries is not to look at what other people are doing, but just simply ask a question and then get the answer through clairsentience, which means you feel it, clairvoyance, which means you see it, claircognizance, which means you just know it. So sometimes I have a little bit of a battle with people that show up new to my chats in Spanish with the Mantrista movement group, because people will say, "Oh, I know what that is. That is this," and I will say to them, "Did you just repeat a concept to me that you learned someplace else, or did you see this?" And they'll say, "No, that's the way it is." And do you know that that's the way it is? And I'm not challenging them to only believe what I'm showing them. What I'm challenging them to do is to see with no filters. Don't bring to the table what other people have said unless you've seen it, you've witnessed it yourself. And if you haven't, then come to this table where we're exploring together and finding many things that are very different than what we were told. Because people that put together all this stuff couldn't really see it. They figured it out, they built on what other people say. We can all see for ourselves. Most people are not ready for that. They're not trained for that. And that's what I'm bringing to the table. I want for you to see it for yourself, for you to prove it to yourself, for it to feel right, not just to parrot what somebody else said. Back to this is for entertainment purposes only, because in a few minutes, and I'm going to show you what was going on yesterday, because I have a new boyfriend and I want to tell you all about it. You'll enjoy it. Stick around. Let's go first. Map of the United States. It's over there, but it doesn't matter because you don't need to see it. The map of the United States looks really good in terms of the Merkabahs, the protection from the Galactic Federation, in terms of the sphere that's around the United States that appears to represent a separate reality. In other words, if Canada goes under, the rest of the world goes under. That encasement, that thing that's encasing the United States, is a protection. Looks really good. I think some heavy duty things are going on behind the scenes that might be shocking, but I really don't want to go into that. There's too many other interesting things to go into, really. So I did the map of the world, and I'll get to my boyfriend in a few minutes. You all know who he is. It's a familiar name on the national scene. Isn't that sweet? Okay. What this energy, what came up off of this energy is there is no trade wars. There's just an adjusting to demands, which would be Trump's demands that things be reciprocal. I think a lot of people are not aware of that. They think that they were imposing tariffs on other countries just because, when that's not really what's going on. What's going on is, if I have it correct, Trump is saying, you're going to tax us, you're going to put Tariffs on us? Okay, we'll do it to you. Well, that's fair. Okay, so just Trump, can you be sweet with China? Is that possible? Is that possible? I have a friend that I argue with a lot because I feel that she has fallen victim to the weaponization of the hatred against China. What does that mean? What it means is you can't think. Somebody already weaponized you, they pointed you in that direction. You get upset about something. Oh, yeah, China. I think there's something going on in China internally, and I think that it's not quite as easy for China to be able to respond to Trump as it would be if they didn't have huge internal issues. I know that's the truth and the case for everybody, but for some reason, this map says China is iffy, internal issues, be gentle, be sweet, be kind, a little flexible. That's what came off of this. It's not that I love China or don't love China. Um, Latin America is shining, but this was said many, many decades ago that the future was in Latin America, and I believe that to be the case. And Europe is collapsing under a created reality. I have no idea what that means, but you know what? I'm not going into it because I got too many other interesting things to discuss. I have noticed that there are entirely too many people. Just wait, Estelle, on the boyfriend thing. You laugh. There's too many people, too many pets that have, I forget how you pronounce the word. They have these, they can't walk, so they make up these medical devices so that the pet can walk and run. And I walk every morning with my dog, and I see there's a lot of pets that are being taken out in little strollers. And I had never seen that before. I bet you don't see that in China. What's going on that there's so many dogs that are having difficulties with their legs? Because it's not just that the dog lost a leg or was hit by a car. It seems to be a process. But why does it concern me? Because there's too many older people in this country that don't have strength in their legs and end up in wheelchairs and end up with needing help to walk and fall downstairs. And I'm not sure that that's the case in a lot of other countries. I think that there's something going on with the root of our energy system, which is the root chakra, which is at the end of the trunk of our body. And I think it also applies. Remember that our pets, a lot of what they have is a reflection and a transference of energy from the owners. If somebody tells you, no, my pet has this disease or this happened to them or whatever, don't say it, but just look and see if there's not an unusual connection between that dog's depression or that dog's cancer and the people that own the dog. That's known in Latin America having to do with black magic. A lot of times a pet will die unexpectedly, and people will say, I wonder if something landed on him. And they're not talking about a spider landing on him. They're talking about black magic that was intended for a human, and the dog took it on. So something's going on. I'm finding it distressing and like a red flag. Just putting it out there. Now, all those vaccines, it turns out, are not good for us. They give them to the pets also. Why? So I think that should be looked into also. I mean, they came up with a list of things that we have to inject our children with, and they have a list of things they have to inject our pets with. If the list of things for injecting the children turns out to be not a great idea and a plan, then how do we know the ones for the pets? I don't go by. When was the last time you heard of anybody who got rabies? Probably never. Why does all the pets have to have rabies shots? Well, just in case, but there's just in case for so many things. So I think that needs to be looked at. I'm only putting that out there because I want to get to the boyfriend part, but I want to make you wait. It's going to be interesting. The most important thing that that can help you get quicker to being a master of your destiny is um, to ask this question anytime you have a problem. And the question is, why did I need this problem? Why did I need this problem? And that answer will get you close to mastery. You won't be blaming anybody for anything. Why did the United States need all of these people stealing so much money that I wouldn't even know how to count it? It's that much, it's just incredible. I think obviously we weren't paying attention. We weren't paying attention. Lack of attention, lack of control. Um, why did the United States need this problem? When Bush was elected, I was not in a good place. First place, I think that election should be looked at. But anyway, and I got reprogrammed, which I was not expecting because at that was in I think the 90s, my famous 90s, and I got reprogrammed. Pretty heavy duty, not great, because I had to work with the new administration, which was not it was not what I was expecting. I feel I got dragged back in. Perhaps I was never really out, but it took me a lot of years for me to say, okay, so why did we need for that to happen? People are asleep. We needed to have somebody take our freedom and go, "Nyah," for people to say, wait a second, what's going on here? That what's going on here, but applied to yourself. What is it that I didn't see? Why does this keep repeating? You need to do that. And you can start today. When you get home, just start today and say, why do I need this? And you may not know the answer initially, but that will start an entire process and you end up not blaming anybody for anything. And then when you figure out why you need the problem, that problem just miraculously goes away. It disappears. And you're like, wait. And it doesn't come back because you don't need that problem anymore. It's a law. Okay, let's go into my new boyfriend. Galaxy is so funny. Basically, he just handed me, he says, so from getting attacked and almost possessed to having a boyfriend in less than 24 hours, that's shocking. Well, guess who my new boyfriend is? My new boyfriend is Adam Schiff. So why is Galaxy saying that I went from being possessed? I think that I am going to be able to figure out very quickly what the clones are. CLONES. You know how they're talking about, when I first ran into it, I went, what are they talking about? I should not have done that. If anybody should know what a clone is, it should be me. Anyway, I don't even know because it was like a nightmare. It was like a nightmare. This new boyfriend is a nightmare. I don't know if it was 2 or 3 days ago. It was so bad yesterday that I had to start a chat 3 separate times. I would get into the chat. I was totally out of control. I said, you know what? Let's close this chat down. I'm going to start another one. 3 times. And the third one, I said, I can't do this. Why? Because I was going through a possession issue, which is Adam Schiff. That's my new boyfriend, Adam Schiff. He is still hanging out of me here, half of his body. Okay, so let me explain. Okay? Let me explain. Possession planet Earth. You have the Catholic priest take care of possessions, and you have basically any good shaman, um, can take care of possessions. It's not so easy. What we do, I used to do every month in the full moon, I would do a session in, I would do a session, an exorcism session. Um, and it was very easy. We would do an intention mantra and people would release spirits. And I wondered why it was that we did it so elegantly. When the Catholic Church do it, it's like this big scandal. And even with the shamans, it can be very, but I realized and I explained that the issue was that we would do exorcisms at the level of intention where there are no spirit bodies. So you don't have anybody to wrestle with. It very interesting, but we're going to let that go. What I need for you to know is that I'm very familiar with the whole possession issue. So this is a sketch from decades ago. This is us. This is a massive depression that basically takes over this part of us. The inclining body, okay, this is us aligned with our spirit, which is our astral body. This is us with a massive depression. And then our spirit body, our astral body, starts to incline forward. And it keeps the physical body, your face, look, I'm smiling. I'm fine. You're not fine. I wasn't fine. I'm not fine. But once you have okay, so here's the assemblage of bodies. You need to get this. It's funny and it's not funny, but we're getting closer. Your physical body all the way to the left, your etheric body, you don't have to worry about it for this conversation. And then your astral body, which is the gold one, and that's your spirit. All of these come in together like the Russian dolls. Got it? Okay. So in that set of bodies, the emotional body, which is your spirit, the one that still lives when you die, starts to move forward, and your physical body is fine. I'm fine. Now I'm saying it with literal, I'm fine, Francis Fox, I'm fine. You know what? I'm not fine. So apparently I was doing too much of the, I'm fine, I'm going to make it, this will be over soon. And then you leave a space there. And then you have another spirit come in. So I told you that a couple months ago, I could feel as I was talking that Adam Schiff, I never had a contact with him, never said his name, didn't like the way he looked because I could tell he's not well. And I said, Adam Schiff, why are you listening to my chat? I wasn't speaking to him directly. He was obviously wherever it is he was. So then after that, he would come at night and I knew that that he and my handler were trying to take control of my body, my spirit, my physical body, my spirit, who knows? So 2.5 days ago, first my dog looked at me funny. My dog would look at me like this. And I was like, okay, what's going on? I should have actually taken the time to get quiet and to actually speak to the dog, though I'm not sure he could have explained this. So I think it was 2 days ago, Adam Schiff. Oh, last week, one of my followers in one of our Mantrista sessions, in which I train everybody with the remote viewing, a lot of them are really good. She said, I see a man's head inside your head, but there's 300 people saying comments and I didn't pay attention, but I left it. So 2 days ago, let's say 2 days ago, all of a sudden, Adam Schiff was in my body and his head was here. He was half in, half out. When I realized that, no, it was yesterday. No, I don't remember when it was, the day before yesterday, but yesterday I had to do the horoscopes. So I set it up 3 times. I could not do it. I was out of control. I was in a panic attack. Hold on, I'm going to sneeze. So I'm like, Adam's Schiff talked to me. He said, I know I'm going to, listen, I don't need to tell you all of these things. And I know it sounds crazy, but that's only because you're limited in your knowledge. of the other dimensions. And that has been the issue. I think there's a lot of mind control going on. And I think that's why too many people are so asleep. And these things are happening. You go, how could this be that bad? What's going on here? Okay. So he explained to me as he's struggling to stay attached to me, that he knows he's going to go to jail. He just doesn't know if he's going to end up in Guantanamo or he's going to end up in El Salvador. But he wants to stay functional. Well, how can he stay functional if his body is in Guantanamo? The only dimensions of which where there are several dimensions is the astral, which is considered by most people hell. Not really true. The higher astral dimensions are not hell, but it's all about emotions, and the lower ones definitely are hell. So you have a spirit body that functions, and possessions have always existed. What I haven't been that familiar with has been, I think, what my handler did to me for many years, which was control me through his spirit body. And this new boyfriend, only boyfriend, Adam Schiff, can only be done by somebody who is very, 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 very savvy in the dark side of magic. We're talking beyond a PhD. So he has tried to negotiate with me. He has said to me, I know I'm going to end up in jail. So he needs, by the way, do you know what they call all of these structures that you are seeing? They're called vehicles. They're also called bodies. Why are they called vehicles? Because that's what you drive, what you use to function on the different dimensions. If his body, I know it sounds crazy, just take it in and go, interesting. If his physical body ends up in jail, and he says he knows he's going to end up in jail, and from what I saw in the news today, he's going to end up in jail, but he can still function if he can steal, borrow, or buy a physical vehicle. Now, normally, somebody like him would be using a body of somebody who wouldn't even be aware. And it would be a possession issue. Somebody got possessed. Their vibration would change. Over time, you'd go, they don't feel like the same person. They're different. Yeah, because what's inside, which is what's important, because your physical body is only a bag of bones that only functions on the physical dimension. So normally I would think he would go and get somebody that he wouldn't have to struggle with, because definitely he's not winning this struggle. For whatever reason, maybe I have information that I'm not really aware of. Maybe he sees where I'm going and that's where he wants to be. If my spirit were not in my physical body, there'd be no value to my physical body. There'd be no opinions. There'd be no incredible multidimensional abilities, no whatever. It's that spirit of ours that is us. That's the thing that's left and continues to live after our physical body dies. So his spirit can still be operational. But if he wants to make a difference and to be functional on the physical dimension, he needs a physical body. So for some reason, he has chosen mine, which is, I don't know why I'm so surprised, because I was telling the Mantrista movement yesterday, there's a very famous writer called J.J. Benitez, J.J. Benitez. He has sold millions of books. And he will say, this is entertainment purposes only. And he was a friend of mine. He came to dinner once and he asked me to read a situation in which there was a woman who was in a bus accident, and she could have lived or died. Remember, we choose whether we're going to live or die. We choose it. Doesn't matter who you are. I don't care what your belief system is. It's your intention. And she didn't know if she wanted to live or die because she was very badly damaged in the bus accident. She could have chosen simply to pass, but a spirit came to her and said, I want to come in. Will you let me come in and use your body? And she said yes. Her spirit left. So she didn't have to deal with the physical dimension. And that other spirit came in, took over her body, and she did recuperate from the accident. That's called a walk in. WALK in. Somebody walks into your physical body. And it was an agreement between those two. There was a TV series, soap opera in Spanish, where they had that. They had the whole thing was based on somebody who was a walk-in. So this that's happening is a walk-in, except there's no agreement here. I'm not letting him in. I'm not interested. It makes me wonder where my handler is. His physical body, I don't know, but where's his spirit? Is he attached to me? It's beyond the beyond the beyond. But I believe what we're talking about, what modern people today in the United States call clones. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb here a little bit. I see the stuff that's going on in Congress, and I see people that I really liked, that I felt were really honorable people, like the Clintons. Bill Clinton was going to release the information about the mind control program I was in the 90s. We were informed of that that was going to happen, and that we would be compensated and things would be okay. And then I don't remember how long it took. Actually, I was asked to set up an event, and somebody else was asked in Las Vegas to set up an event. And we were supposed to be like the poster child for mind control. Look how well we turned out. Look at Frances Fox. She unraveled string theory. My goodness, it's not all bad. So I set up an event at the Biltmore Hotel. I spent like $5,000. That would have been 90, 96, 97. I don't remember. And everything's fine. 2 or 3 days before my event, somebody contacts me, not my handler, somebody else, some military person. He says, you need to cancel the event. And I go, cancel the event? And they said, yeah, it's not happening. They're not going to be releasing the information on mind control. And that was when the Lewinsky thing happened, which was, to somebody like me, it's so obviously a setup. And her girlfriend that told her to save the dress is so obviously military. I mean, give me a break. Wake up, guys. Anyway, they set him up and they took him down, which took down the whole country. It would have been a very different country if this information had gotten out before that. So why did I go off on that particular tangent? Oh, I see people like the Clintons and this woman, Elizabeth Warren. I always liked her. She seemed honorable. And this other guy, uh, Bernie Sanders, I think they look like decent people. Well, it is looking increasingly possible that maybe they weren't so great with what it appears is coming out having to do with monies and blah, blah, blah. And with the stuff that they're saying in Congress now, it doesn't really jive with what it is that I would have felt. And so many people are saying that a lot of the people in power are actually clones. If this blooming idiot, asqueroso, that a word in Spanish that means disgusting, man, would have managed, I haven't gotten him completely out of me yet because I am not in a good place. I'm half broken because of the isolation, the fear for my family, whatever. If he had won, I would have been a clone. And nobody would have been able to tell initially. And over time, people would have said, yeah, but she's doing things really different from the way she used to do them. And she's not really supporting the things that she was supporting. She's like changed. Yeah, I would have been changed because the part of you that is really you wouldn't have been me. It would have been him. And he's such an expert, he probably would have pulled it off for a long time. Why is this important? Because if you really get deep into conspiracies, you're going to see the whole thing with the clones all over the place. And the thing with when they have that mask that they put on and they completely change into someone else. I think that's interesting and I think that's valid. I'm sure that's being used. The real danger is in the possessions, which somebody has perfected. Because possessions before, probably before the military got a hold of it. Remember, the military makes, if they want information, but they need for it to be functional. So maybe they made the possession issue functional. I don't know. A possession before would have been somebody who was like really bad place and they just zone out completely. They're gone, they're asleep, and then a spirit comes in and then they're possessed. The big problem with the planet is zombies, which are possession issues. The zombie issue, according to the Bible, according to the Mayans, is going to be one of the biggest issues in end times, which is where we're at now. So I think we need to get, we need to understand this issue and we need to deal with it in a way that's effective. Um, um, I am actually leaving somebody, taking somebody out of here. No, what I'm saying is that he is in the process of trying to possess me. He's half in and half out. Okay. Galaxy, I was making a joke. Maybe English is your second language. I was making a joke. He's not my boyfriend at all, though this is certainly a very intimate relationship. Let me see if I let me see what else, what other comment is here that maybe I need to address. And Estella saying you were having I was having a total breakdown yesterday. I've never felt like that. Galaxy's so cute. So from getting attacked and almost possessed to having a boyfriend in less than 24 hours, because yesterday I explained to everybody, and actually some of the people could see this. It is not unusual to have spirits next to you, whether they have a physical body that's still alive or not. If you are an alcoholic and you lose it when you drink alcohol and you do stuff that's totally against what you would ever do, that means that you have a spirit that is right next to you, stuck to you, that's full of rage. And when you lose control of your physical vehicle body, that spirit comes in, does some god awful stuff, and then leaves, and you get stuck with the problem. Got it? Now, when the spirit comes in and stays in, that's a possession issue. When you're an alcoholic and you still most of the time are you, that's an entity attachment. And I am putting out my third book now. The title is Your Astral Body is Your Spirit. And when I started talking about mental illness, and I went to how psychologists describe the different conditions, all of the descriptions are descriptions of spirit influence or spirit invasion. They just didn't put the word spirit there, but that's exactly what the spirits are doing. But they're not allowed to believe in spirits. So, bottom line, listen to me. It was a joke. I don't have a new boyfriend. I have a problem in that I am not in a good place energetically and consciousness wise. This has been decades that I've been waiting for this thing with Kennedy to finish playing out so that I can just have a life. I am living in incredible fear and I should not go out and rarely go out. There's too many people want me dead. Now, who likes to live like that? Plus, I'm totally alone. Plus, I can't see my family. I shouldn't see my family because it's like the lion that has the little babies, and there's some danger coming. The lion goes that way and leaves the little babies over here. That's exactly what I'm doing. So I am going to admit that I'm not in a good place. By the way, the truth will set you free. I don't need to be here and tell you that I have everything under control, because I don't. And as with the Mantrista movement, I use the best examples of stuff that I'm teaching. And in this case, there's no better example than this, especially since several people that were with me yesterday on the chats could actually see this. So, and when I asked why, because I said it yesterday, why on earth would I need this problem now? I'm almost free. Come on. Why would I need this? Because I really did not understand the clone thing. And I think the clone thing, once we pull that curtain back and we get into the darkest conspiracy explanations for what's going on in Congress, in this country, but also other countries, we need to understand that. I didn't understand that, and I may be one of the people that can bring that information to the table for people to understand. I mean, that's my work. My work is the assemblage of bodies, which people know a piece about this one, a piece about that one. Oh yeah, I have a spirit. Oh yeah, I have an astral body. But they don't. It's not been systematized in a way that in this part of the world, or even in the other parts of the world, the information is not that operational. That's what I'm bringing. So applying that assemblage of body to all of this, I've got this problem. This was done decades ago. This is from the 90s, when I was allowed to be a person. And then I was put to sleep, I guess. And it starts with this whole thing. You're living in this miasm. In this case, it's depression. Sometimes it's red, whatever. So your spirit, you're supposed to be all the bodies together, Russian dolls. But if your life is tough enough and you just can't take it, which obviously I can't take it, if not, this couldn't happen. And then your spirit is going like this, and your physical body is showing up for the chat, showing up for the, for whatever. You look fine. You look fine. You're half asleep. And then there's a space left and something comes in. This is what's happening to me with Alan Chip. And I made a joke of it, and then I got a new boyfriend. I want him to get the hell out of here. So he gave me also another piece of interesting information in case somebody important is listening and they're still looking for money. He said he would pay me, and he would pay my whole family if I would let him do this. In other words, then he would be a walk-in, versus a possession is when there's no permission. You're gone, and that spirit comes in and they use your physical vehicle to function. He wanted it to be a walk-in. In other words, maybe because he knew that I would be able to tell her something. So what he told me was having to do with money. The money's in Canada. Now, I don't remember what else he said around that, but he was offering me money. He says, it's closer than you think. We have it in Canada. We can get it to you. Galaxy, he didn't finally get me. No, it's not multiple personalities, Ross. That's not what it is. It's hard for me to Galaxy, and jokes are hard for me to understand in Spanish also, so don't feel bad. And I made it like it was real, so it's okay. So we have learned something important about the whole issue of clone. And I do believe that those plastic masks that the CIA makes that look so great, I think that those are also an issue. The bigger issue is the issue with the clones. The bigger issue is one of the reasons why Atlantis fell, which is that they learned how to enslave people's spirit. Now, here, in this case, here I am, my physical body. Adam Schiff knows he's going. He's just not sure if he's going to end up in El Salvador or Guantanamo. But he has accepted that, at least according to his conversation. So if he comes in, then my spirit is out. What happens to my spirit? There's many different things that can happen to it, but being it that I'm not in the process where I'm supposed to be dead or I want to be dead and that's it, and this physical, and then I go to the light, whatever. Aren't those the soldiers for the devil? The lost souls are the ones that the devil used to do bad things because those souls are all confused, whatever. Who knows where my spirit would have gone? Oh my God. Anyway, I actually know what is so broken in me still that this could even ever have come up as an issue, is even to the level at which it has come up. It's not over. He's not standing at the door anymore. He's much closer than that. And so that is what I am working on full time. And I actually am relatively relaxed about it, including to use Intramil and Belladonna and all the homeopathy to get me centered, um, or to get me a little bit more to center. So I'm actually dedicating myself full time, which basically is to healing the female part of me. Because what I learned through the decades was just to have a female part of me to kind of, I was going to say go away or go to sleep, and that's a problem. You cannot do that. Now, that's the way I survived. I couldn't take it. But look where it leaves me, vulnerable to this incredibly stupid man. But there, I'm here to teach you. Guess what? As I told my followers, and my handler was on my back for 5 years. Okay? I mean, my followers know because they used to read him and they used to read the stuff that he would do to me and the group and whatever through black magic. Why did I need this problem? Because I think we need to know now about the clones. Because there's so much going on in the other dimensions with the mixing of the dimensions. And what does that make him? That makes him a master. He's doing bad things in order to create a good reaction. And in Tantric Buddhism, they know that. The people that we think are bad guys, yes, they're doing things we classify as bad, but they're doing it even though they're not conscious of it in order to help humanity out. Now, I'm not ready to look at this guy that way now, or my handler, because they're both still issues. But I have shifted my consciousness in terms of the man that controlled me for 30 years. And I understand that he was actually an ally. And the things that he did was in order to set me up for me to do this today. Now, the current guys, I'm not ready to be there. I'm not ready there. And I don't need to be there at all, ever. What I have to do now is to pull myself together. And I do believe that whatever it is going on with the whole sex trafficking thing, when that gets a little bit resolved, I think that the female part of me will feel an awful lot safer. So anyway, so no, I don't have a new boyfriend. I don't have a boyfriend. I use that as a joke, and that's part of my section of news called multidimensional gossip. I need a producer. I need a lot of things. Security guard, freedom, the ability to go sit in a restaurant and eat. Anyway, so we are going to do, I'm getting very tired on X of seeing as much violence as there is. Oh my God. And I know they're showing it's news and I understand that. But when is it that we're going to reach the point where we go, okay, what's the root cause of all of this? And the root cause is never in the physical dimension. It's never about, it's about the elements, and there's too much fire, and we can make this happen. But somebody who's in charge needs to kind of understand that, because we're all going to go down. We're all going to go down if this is not addressed at the level of cause, which is the elements, which is the fire. And again, the simple mantra, even though I'm frustrated, I love and accept myself, makes a huge difference. And if you're not so delicate, just say, even though I hate everyone and everybody, that's the one we're gonna do now. Even though I hate everyone and everybody, I love and accept myself. Okay, give me a second. Let's see if I can just manage to have only one spelling error. Okay, here we go. I'm going to put on the glacier sensory therapy video and just visualize yourself underneath cooling down. Right now, put a block of ice in your liver, which is underneath your right breast. Put it inside your liver on the back wall, and inside your head, put a block of ice. You could put yourself in an igloo if you want and get under the cascading water. And we're going to do this for 7 minutes. Okay, we did 7 minutes. I'm my future must look really, really good if Adam Schiff would like to live my life. Because basically, if he had ended up being able to possess me while his physical body is in Guantanamo Bay or in El Salvador or wherever, he must, because he's psychic, he knows all that stuff, I'm sure. He couldn't be what he did. He must be looking forward and seeing that I have the kind of life that he would like, or that he feels has tremendous potential. And I guess then he would be able to access that money that he says is in Canada. I wouldn't bank on that piece of information. Um, but I can repeat what it is that he said. Lots of questions, and certainly I already have my work cut out for me. The part of me that is gone or half gone needs to come back, but for that it needs to feel safe. I think I need to get out of this city. I don't think I can stay here. I think I can't wait any longer. So I think within a couple of weeks, if something doesn't shift, I think I'm going to do something pretty dramatic, because I can't live. I can't live like this much longer. I mean, look at this issue, this weakness. Um, what potentially could have happened. Now you read it the other way. Why did I need for this to happen? Well, two things. I need to go ahead and take care of the part of me that's so frightened, and I needed to understand the clone thing. But I'm going to ask the dolphins about that. We're going to go back to the whole thing of the invasions and the robots and the zombies, because that's big in the Bible and in the Mayans, and the dolphins having to do with end times. That's huge. So we need to understand it while we still are able to think. Okay? Thank you for joining me. Bye. And no, I don't have a new boyfriend.